Tonight we're going to be talking to you about happiness. Not any kind of happiness, not your regular boring kind of happiness in which people kind of have a day-to-day existence, but we're going to talk to you about how you can find extreme happiness, the kind of happiness that actually just annoys the people around you. So happy that you're just sitting there and giggling to yourself. You're thinking to yourself, maybe that's not possible. Well, I'm here to tell you that it actually is. And I can show you, as a matter of fact, exactly how, why, and what is going to make you happy. Now, today we're going to be using the alchemic pyramid again, and we've got actually the permission of somebody who I've done a happiness class with, and we're going to be using her. Now, her name starts with an L, so it could be Linda, Lucy, Lydia, Lisa, anyone of an L name would do, but we're going to actually just use this person tonight as L. And L will actually show us how you can be happy. The first thing we're going to do, though, is we're going to talk about what makes a happy person happy. And usually what makes a person happy is not in getting, but in giving. There's a whole bunch of old sayings about it's better to give than to receive. And when it comes to happiness, nothing can be more true. For most people, the idea of getting, taking, receiving is going to bring you happiness. But in actuality and in practice, the idea of giving, sharing, and putting it out there in the world and into the universe, that's what's really going to make you happy. That's what's really going to get you going. So let's talk about the idea of selfishness versus selfishness. Because if you're going to be selfish, then this is going to be a really long 30 minutes for you. So sit back, relax, know that there's nothing you have to do other than just take it in. Allow me to give to you. And take in the knowledge, take in the information, and then feel free to share it with whomever you would like. Okay? The second thing we got to look at is the idea of chaos, which means that all kinds of things all around the world are going to be happening. And chaos is basically this idea that a lot of people are going to be fearful of losing their sanity, the mental sanity that they have right now. There's something on politically, economically, there's a lot of stuff happening that we're going to talk about that's going on in the world, some of which you can deal with, some of which you can't. And you're just going to have to deal with it. And we're going to talk about what makes somebody happy while another person is paranoid, what makes somebody joyous while another riddled with anxiety and can't sleep. We're going to go through all the chaos and what's real and what's not real. And finally, we're going to look at this idea of taking a leap of faith. It's based in the affirmation cards, it's spirit, it's the idea that you're going to be guided and protected. So for the next, again, 25 minutes, you're going to be guided and protected from all the chaos that's going on out there in the world. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to worry about giving anything. All you got to do is just sit back and relax. Okay? Great. First thing we're going to do is we're going to bring up somebody's L's, as a matter of fact. We're going to bring up L's happy alchemic transformational pyramid, and it looks like this. Okay, there you go. And see, from the pyramid, L has on the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 written down what life is actually like now. And then in box 7, 8, 9, and 10, they wrote basically what they would like to see in their life. So for them to be happy, they would like to be physically thin, emotionally loved. They would like to be mentally smart, spiritually secure, which I think we could all agree that most of us would like to be thin, loved, smart, and secure. Those sound like pretty good things to me, especially if you reverse them and say, I am secure because I am so smart that I chose to be loved over being thin. And that's going to be a very important thing, and we're going to why that's going to be so important in Elle's life. Now, Elle's first thing is that who she is somebody who is sad. When we asked her about how she would describe her energy in one word, the word came back as sad, which is really too bad because she's really a really sweet and nice person. Sorry about that. Some of you have been saying that there was a little noise. So I hope that cleared it up. So Elle's a very nice person who's sad. The reason why is because in the second box, which is her subconsciousness, that we asked about the idea of tell me about how you were raised, your childhood, and things like that. And the word that they used for that was poor. And that's going to play a big role in their life right now. The consciousness is everything that you can actually see. It's what's around you. It's your environment. It's what's going on in the world. It's not just the physical. It's the complete and total amalgamation of physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. So it's basically the world in which you live. The next is the intention, or what it is that you plan on having happen. And the next one is the actions, or what you actually do in your life, in the world, or what's going on. And then finally is the outcome, what you expect or plan, what you actually know is going to be happening in your life. Okay? So these all six were what was happening in her life now. The bottom row is what was happening, what she'd like to see have happen in the future, or as close to now as possible. And as you can see from the chart or from the sheet, if you're going to be happy, you need to read the pyramid 42536. Again, that's 42536. And when we put L's words together, it says the following. It says that L is to be rich, but her background is poor. Her actions are trying to make her happy, and her environment is allowing her to get close. The only outcome that she needs to worry about now is her what? Is her occupation. So we're going to take a good hard look at Elle's occupation and see how that's preventing her from being as happy as she could be in the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual worlds. Okay, let's go backwards. If we look at 63524, we see that her occupation is close to making her happy, but she's still poor and not rich. What do we know about Elle? Elle wants to be rich. And if she had $60,000, she'd want to make 100. If she made 200, she'd want to make, if she made 2 million, she would want to have 6 million. She has something what we call poverty consciousness, which is why the word poor is up there in the subconscious, which means that no matter how much you get, it's not going to be enough. We all know people like this, that no matter what you give them, it's what? It's never enough. Here's a 2.5 carat diamond ring, but she got a 4 carat ring, or here is a new Nissan Sentra, but he got a Porsche Boxster. There's always somebody who's always going to get something more. And if you compare and contrast, you're always going to be miserable. You're always going to be unhappy. And that's what real poverty is. Okay? Real poverty is no matter how rich you get, you still don't feel it. And that's the same thing with happiness. You can have all the reasons to be happy and still not be happy because your subconscious is reminding you of all kinds of things. Now, okay, let's go back to this part that now that we know where her happiness is, do you think it's going to be in the physical, emotional, mental, or spiritual world that she's going to need to draw from? Well, I can tell you this, it's not going to be in the physical world because getting thinner ain't going to make her any richer. It's not, it's maybe good in the emotional world. Being loved is always good, especially around an occupation that people respect and care for you. But I've seen a lot of loved people get fired. Not in the spiritual world. It's not about security, doing the same thing again and again that's going to make her happy. It's in the mental world. The mental is going to be about career. Mental is always about career. Remember, there's jobs, careers, and calling. She's got a career. And she's looking to be happy. So she's going to have to be what? Smart. If you look at it, it says that basically she's going to have to mentally be smart to deal with making or to get happy because her subconsciousness sees her life, no matter what it is, as poor. So she's going to have to be smart about this. And well, how do it goes like this. If she's smart about getting rich and not being poor, happiness will come when she is close to finding the occupation that she wants. She's close to finding it, but she's not there. So she needs to be what? She needs to be smarter. She's close, but she's not getting there. She needs a headhunter. I can't afford a headhunter. Join LinkedIn. Thousands of different people or thousands of different headhunters, all willing to use your services, their services. Countless numbers of websites out there about how to get a new job, what you could do to interview. The job market is so crappy out there. There's no good jobs. I always laugh at that when I hear people say that, just like they say there's no good women left anymore. And the reality is that there's plenty of both. And actually, there's lots of everything. It's just being smart enough to see it, recognize for it. So if you're going to be happy, especially in this case, you're going to need to be smart. Now you need to fill one of these out. These are at my website. Just go into the interactive part and you can actually fill this out and it's there for you. Just fill it out and you'll take for you to be happy. If you want me to tell you that what's going to make you happy is $100,000 or a new relationship or a car or a whatever, a trip, guess what? I have no idea. And for everybody else, happiness is going to be something completely different. For one person who wants packing and live amongst the woods and hike 10 miles a day, that's their form of happiness, is going to be absolute misery for somebody who wants to go to, say, Paris, wear expensive designer clothes and only hang out and drink champagne in really fancy bars. Now, maybe those two can coexist, but odds are those are two very different people. So your happiness is going to be what? Unique to you, and you need to understand that. Your happiness is about you. So let's get to your happiness. For those of you who want to, see if you can follow along here, because this next part is going to get a little bit more tricky. When I go ahead and read out her words 10987, that being secure is what Elle needs to be smart. She needs to change her focus from being poor to rich to being secure or insecure to being secure. That would be smart. The way she's going to do that is to be loved. Okay? That's how she is going to find her happiness. Okay? And for some reason, if she's loved, she believes that's going to help her to be thin. And it is for a lot of people. It is true that being loved and being thin do have something in common. And that is the following. There's a lot of people I know who, when they break up with people, gain a lot of weight. There are people I know that lose a lot of weight. Your emotions play havoc with your what? With your weight and how you feel and what you feel. Some people get a breakup and then they go right to the gym and work out 3 hours a day. Other people go right to Baskin Robbins. Whatever's going to make you happy, whatever you need to cope. Okay? It's a coping mechanism. For Elle, the idea of her situation is that she believed that she could not be loved if she was poor. Okay? That was her thing. And that's why she felt like she could never be happy, because she equated love and poverty together. The richer she was, the more she would be loved. Guess what? That is not the case. It's very rarely the case. But she desperately wanted to be loved. And the idea was, the more I'm loved, the less poverty I will feel inside of myself. The more successful I am, the more love I will have, the happier I will be. Again, you can see it right here. Her subconscious is poverty, poor. Her consciousness is loved. And it says that basically she brings those two things are very close together for her, being loved and being poor. Okay? Even though she's very smart, the reality is that those two things are just two sides of the same quarter. They're very close to her. Being loved and being poor. She grew up in a poor background. So the only thing she had was the love of her parents, the love of her siblings. And she associated being poor with being loved. Okay, because they didn't have anything. That was her currency. Everybody has a currency that's going to make them happy. That was her currency. Now, her currency is probably going to be something different than yours. Okay? Even though she's smart, as you can see in the mental part, it's very smart. It says that being smart is being close to being poor. It doesn't matter that you're smart. What's really important is what? The love. So she needs to find a place or a career or a job in which she is what? She is absolutely loved. Let's get on to something in which most people want, which is a few less pounds, especially nowadays. All right, let's take a look at this again. Now, she says she wants to be thin. All right, great. How do you get thin and still remain happy? Cool. How do you do it? Well, you can spend money. If you got money, if you're rich or poor, it doesn't matter when it comes to getting thin. It says that what you need to find is you need to find something that makes you happy. And then you have to kind of always be doing it. That's going to be close. That's something that's going to be close to your occupation. So if you're going to get thin, you need to do something that's going to be something that you do every day. You have to see it like an occupation. So to get thin, we set up a workout schedule for her that was like a job, a routine. Why? She likes her security. Number 10, she wants to feel secure. Feeling secure means something that she could do day in, day out, something that she was going to feel like she could wake up, roll out of bed, throw on her clothes, and do the same kind of thing with the same kind of people. People that were what? Very much like her. That was the main thing. If she's going to be thin, and here's the thing, you have to ask yourself, what's I'm looking for? You have to ask yourself, am I around people that are like me or not like me? If you look up into the third part of the third box of the pyramid, you'll see close. So she needed somebody that was like her, a top flight athlete and an Olympian, somebody who was a college all-star, a professional athlete. You need those kinds of people, those kinds of trainers. If you are a mere human being, a mere mortal, you need to be around what? Mere mortals. Otherwise, it's going to be just misery. Look around you and ask yourself, who am I? Part of the secret of being happiness is part of the secret of being happy is being honest with yourself. It's accepting who you are and where you're at. And that's going to be so important because my football days are over. I know that. However, does that mean I don't get to go to the games? Sure, I get to go to the games. That's easy. Call American Express. They're happy to sit on the couch, watch the game. It's all there. Going out and playing tackle football is no longer a part of my game. And the more I try and make that a part of my life, the more unhappy I'm going to get. So in the conscious world, you got to ask yourself, who am I and what is around me? And I have to accept that. If I travel to a third world country and I have a problem and I need brain surgery, I've got one of two options. A, in the country that doesn't have the best doctors or equipment, or B, get myself to a plane and get myself home to where they can get me the best surgeon in the world. If you're going to be happy, you have to see things clearly as to the way that they actually are, not the way you want them to be. This is where most of us get in trouble because we see ourselves as, I want to look like I'm 21 and I want to have as much money as Bill Gates and I want to, it's always the I want. That's where we get in trouble. That's where the happiness really leaves the room. When the happiness comes in, just like when we were talking about relationships, is when we're sharing with each other. You're in that large workout class and you're sharing in all of the pain, you're sharing in all of the suffering, you're sharing in this idea that basically you're all in this together. That's how the military does it. They build a unit through unity. What does that mean? Everybody suffers. Elle's common thread was poverty growing up. Okay, so no matter how much she has, it's never going to be enough because she still has what? Poverty consciousness. And she is going to be happy. She has to be smart about that. She has to realize what? She has to realize to be loved. Okay, and by being loved, she is going to feel happy by being around people that she feels close to. So with regards to her work and her career, we spent a whole lot of time on asking her, what kind of people do you want to be around? What kind of people do you feel close to? Is it brainy intellectual types? Is it artistic types? Is it somebody that are talk, 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 talk? Or is it basically the quiet people? We went through all of these different versions of what kind of person does she want to be close to while she's working. We went through all kinds of ideas on what kind of job she wants to do. And when we finally got to the end of it, we actually asked or told the recruiter, listen, we would like to find a job in which we would be doing this. There are these kinds of people. This is our goal that we're looking for. We're not necessarily looking to be rich, but we don't want to be poor. What we want is we want to find a career that's going to give me close relationships, one in which I feel loved with a whole bunch of smart people. So we finally found a small, like a tech thing in which she was working in a small group with a small group of people, like 4 people. And they were like this band of thieves, thick as thieves, as I believe the words are. And she couldn't have been happier because whereas she was getting money, she was creating something and she was interacting with people in a close and caring way. And that's really what made her happy. And yes, it was a startup. So no, they didn't really have a lot of money, but they were all hoping to get rich. And when you look at her alchemic pyramid, you can see an occupation that she worked closely with other people is going to make her happy. Even though they're a poor startup, they have the potential to be rich. Okay, there you go. It says that they were on thin budgets, but they loved what they did. They were all smart, and they all basically were trying to create something that was going to be creating security for themselves and the people around them. It was a masterpiece. It was a stroke in which she was really happy that she found it, but it didn't just happen. It didn't just fall into her lap. Very rarely does happiness fall into our lap. And when it does, that's usually a fleeting form of happiness. Real happiness starts with you saying, okay, what's my energy? What is your energy? Are you a happy person, kind person, loving person, stupid person? Are you a frugal person? Are you a mad person? Are you a confused person? What's your energy? What's the energy that you put out? And how are you brought up? What is the energy from there? What is your experience? And then say, does your experience of what you were brought up from match where you are at now? Because I guarantee you, there's going to be a lot of similarities and a whole lot of people who want to just leave the past behind. A lot of those people have a lot of initiative and go very far. Doesn't mean they're happy, but it does mean that they're going to get the most they can. Then you got to ask yourself, now that I know where I'm at, or at least I know my surroundings and everything else that I have, what I can and cannot do, I have to create my intentions, because my intentions will lead to my actions, and my actions will give me my outcomes physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. She wanted security. Elle wanted security in the most, and that was just a huge thing for her. So what she had to do was she had to look at her outcomes, which was what? Her occupation. She had to change her occupation in order for her to have happiness. And she was close to doing what she wanted that was going to make her happy, but she had poverty. She was poor. And the reason why she was poor is because she felt that she was unloved doing what she was doing, and there wasn't enough money to pay her to keep doing that job while feeling unloved. Even if they would have raised, doubled, tripled her salary, she still would not have been happy at that position. Why? Because she wasn't working close with anybody that she loved on something that she loved. That was the secret to her happiness. The secret to your happiness is right there. It's on the sheet. Fill it out. If you want me to read it for you, fill it out, send it to me. It's simple. Go to my website. It's got my email address, Todd@Todd Hershey. You can take a look at it. As you take a look at it, it will tell you exactly what's happening. And if that's not enough, I'll tell you. I'll send you back a little audio file, okay? If you send it, as always, within 48 hours. Okay, that is the secret to happiness. It's success because you took the initiative to go out there and not be about the take, but about the give. You realize basically your past and what you're bringing to your situation. So your intention of what you want has to marry with regards to where you've come from. In other words, I want to be a rocket scientist. I want to be a rocket engineer from NASA. That's my intention. My background is 7th grade mathematics. You don't get in. Sorry, you're just not gonna, it's not gonna happen for you. Happiness will come when intentions plus your subconscious or your past history will allow you to take the actions necessary so that your current condition or your situation will allow you the opportunity to move forward and give you the outcome that you're looking for. And that outcome will allow you to do that physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And if you want something physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, you think that's going to make you happy, because trust me, if you're missing one of those, you're not going to be happy. You're a three-legged chair that's going to fall. The old joke, which is the most important leg of a chair? Answer, they all are important. You need all four to sit down. You need all four, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. If you want to change any of those, then you have to say, what is your outcome? What do I have to work with? And what are my actions going to be such that I'm able to overcome my past and my current situation, and set that as your intention. And the words will tell you exactly what those things are. And remember, if you do have a negative word, then you need to figure out what the opposite of that word is, because that will be the remedy. That's the antidote for the negativity. And we all have a lot of negativity in our lives, just with everything going on around. And I don't see that getting any better after working with all kinds of people and everything else. I only see that getting harder. But if you follow this, if you follow this path, if you follow what I'm saying, happiness can be and will be yours. Okay? If anybody has any questions, please let me know. I've at time again, which is kind of sad because I always feel like there's so much more to say, especially around happiness, because happiness is just so important, especially in today. Oh, one other thing. Again, try and stay out of any kind of fighting between left, right, good, bad, any kind of duality things. Life is a billion different colors. And for anybody to tell you it's either one or the other is somebody who's either trying to sell you something or trying to keep you down. Don't buy into it. Be free with your mind. Be free with your happiness. Allow yourself to feel, love, and be happy. Okay, that's it for me. I hope you have a great week. For those of you who would like a little bit of instruction on a daily basis, if you go to the video logs and daily readings on the website, Todd at Todd Hershey, you will see that each day I put out an affirmation. For those of you who would like an affirmation, just kind of a thought for the day of what's going to happen and how you can kind of achieve the best version of yourself, or kind of, even in this case, be happy. I hope you take a look and enjoy. That's it. Please feel free to like, subscribe, and do all that other stuff. And we'll talk to you again next Tuesday. Have a great week.